for me. That means that I don't have to get dolled up a double time, if that makes sense. That means I can come here and do my audios right here at my YouTube and save my getting dolled up and all that stuff for when I'm actually going live, which is not until a little bit later on that I log into work. But this video is specifically going out to my cam models as it relates to let me make sure that we're all in here. Let me make sure my techie stuff is together. But as it relates to saturation, right? Saturation, saturation, saturation. And this is something, right? I mean, out of all the industries on the planet, the adult entertainment field, or being an adult person, period, as it relates to the naughty stuff, this has been the oldest profession, as we know, since the beginning of time, as it relates to, again, adult content. Now that we're, technology, we can be seen in different platforms in different ways. Not every woman is a traditional, what my daughter calls it when out here in California, it's called walking the blade. So not every not every woman is. There's so many ways to be an adult content creator. In fact, what's funny, before I get into this topic, is knowing that there are many, 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 many women that I have watched on Instagram, TikTok, other platforms, and thought to myself, oh my gosh, she is acting and behaving just like a webcam model. However, she happens to be on Instagram. You get what I'm saying? So, in other words, she's sitting there possibly entertaining men in a very seductive and or naughty way, just not over the top risque. And so, again, that just puts a little bit of emphasis as it relates to women in the business. Not every model in the webcam modeling industry is a nude model. Not all of us take our clothes off. Let me say that. Not every OF model takes their clothes off, at least in the beginning. I'll just throw that in the bucket just because, right? It can change. It does change. People may have a change of heart, a change of mode, a change of motivational, money motivation, whatever it may be, right? But I wanted to talk about, again, how do you thrive in the industry that is so saturated? How does one thrive in this industry, being a webcam model and or an OnlyFans, right? Now, keep in mind, I do want to put emphasis, there is a difference between webcam models and OF girls, OnlyFans models. The difference is one is a little, OnlyFans basically caters to women who are in the mode of putting out a lot of content, and you already should. I'm not saying you absolutely have to, but it's a good idea to already have a following. That's OnlyFans. As it relates to webcam modeling, you don't have to have a following. You just as soon as you get approved, you log into work and you go live. That's the difference between webcam models and OF girls. Unless OnlyFans changes its platform and allows for people to stream and oh my gosh, it's going to be something. Then it's going to be, to me, pretty much meshed in there and blended right in there to be, basically, she can then call herself a webcam OnlyFans model. That's probably how it would be worded, right? But I want to talk about, again, saturation. So how do you win, ladies and gentlemen? Because there are men that are webcam models and or OnlyFans models, right? So how do you win in an industry where everybody seems to be doing the same thing? The number one thing that I've seen, and again, if you guys don't know by now, and I've been in the business for over 15 years. Well, I've been a webcam model for over 15 years, and I've been a phone in the industry, soft adult entertainment field industry, that is, for 30 years. About 30 years, okay? Yeah. So I started out when I was absolutely 18 years old as a phone actress. Very soft over the phone, soft, just chit-chatting and talking to guys. Something that a lot of women do when you have your boyfriend or you have your boo. Back in the day, if you're a little old school like me, you just get on the phone and you fall asleep on the phone together. You might talk a little bit naughty on the phone. You might get a little bit sexier on the phone, that kind of mode, right? Same difference, or similar difference, I should say. Anywho, so how do you win? For me, because I have to use me as, of course, an example. I think the best way to win in any type of industry where there's so much of the same thing going on, and I was bringing up, how long I've been in, because when I first started out, feet have always been a thing. Let me say that. If you didn't hear nothing else I'm saying, feet, selling feet, feet pics, foot. There are thousands and million, gazillion, kabillion types of men that are into feet. And then this is where it gets real interesting. So let's just say you're a woman and you notice that, okay, guys like your feet. They're hitting you up in your DMs on your social media. This is something that they want. This is something they desire. They are willing to pay, whatever the case is. But then so you log into OnlyFans. You get your OnlyFans. You're like, all I'm doing is doing feet pics. Or you become a webcam model and you're like, oh, I'm just going to do, foot fetish shows or whatever, right? And then you find out like everybody's feet, where your confidence is supposed to, because this takes confidence. It doesn't even necessarily take skill, but it takes confidence and authenticity. I know that's a word that gets drawn out just as much as toxicity, narcissist, and every other word, right? That we have discovered along social media, right? And the words that just keep on being, and accountability is another word. But anywho, so let's say you're selling feet pics, or you're a foot model, and you find out that men, or they love your feet. You've done very well. You made, let's just say, about $100. I'm gonna make it real simple, y'all. You made $100 for, let's say, 3 pictures. A guy sends over two. You send to a guy. So you get in the groove, and you're like, okay, this looks fun. All I have to do is send foot pictures. Yay, yay, yay. There's so much to be said as it relates to saturation, and I feel this coming to my mind. Listen, ladies, listen, listen, listen. Just because a man likes feet, and this was told to me in my younger years by an older woman, because I used to date this guy who was totally into feet. I mean, he was. And then I realized he was not into me, as what this older woman preached to me in the most sweetest of ways. That was her advice to me. She said, remember, baby, he's not necessarily into you. He's into feet. He just likes feet, period, right? He has a thing for in other words, almost any woman's feet will do. So with that being said, when you think about you being in the industry and it's saturated with men who, again, a very popular fetish, which is feet, you have to look at your feet right now and ask yourself, what makes my feet different than any other woman's? Because what you have to do, if it's saturated as a niche, and there's so much of it going on, you have to make the time, or take out the time to look at your feet and go, what about my feet is that the guys like? This is also a place where you can ask them, hey, what about my feet that you like? Just ask them. Like I've asked many men before in my past, what is it about my nails that you like? Because believe it or not, even though it's rare to have long nails like I have, there are women all across, at least the U.S. and other countries as well, that rock long fingernails. The only thing that I've heard, this is what I've heard from certain men. One, it's not all about the nails. They actually like me and the personality that goes with it. They find me attractive. They find me eccentric. They find me exotic, hence exotical worship. They find that part of me. And so that's specifically what they're looking for. I've had men say, I was looking for a caramel mixed chick, or at least exotic looking woman with long fingernails. There was a type of look that went into the nails too. There was a type of personality. It just wasn't about my nails. And then we'll go into detail. Well, I like the way yours curve. I like the colors choices you choose. I like the length of them. I've also had men who say, why aren't they longer? There's some men who would like them longer. There's some men who ask, most people ask, why is one hand shorter? Why is one hand longer? And there have been men who ask me, can you please do both hands longer? Let me make it plain English. I've had men who say, I will pay you to put false nails on the right hand as long as they're the same length, right? And so another thing that makes me unique in the long nail fetish industry or fetish business is that my left hand is real, right? It's my real nails. My right hand isn't, even though in other words, I wear press-ons on the right, long hands. That's what makes it unique, because even though I'm in a similar category, same category as a man that will love a woman with long nails and a long nail fetish, every detail matters to these men, right? So when you think about feet, because feet is more popular than nails in that respect, you got to look at your feet. You look at your feet and you go, okay, is my toes made different? This is not to compare yourself to anyone else. You go, is my toes made different? Is my feet, do I have a high arch, or am I flat footed? Just like in my case, I'm very flat footed, right? But men still love my feet. Why? Because I have long toenails. But guess what? Not all of my toes are long. It's just the big toe that's long and the rest of them are short. It's kind of like balancing out how the left hand is long and the right hand is short. There's also a story behind why I wear my right hand long and my left hand short, right? To create the whole scene is because I am paying homage to Flojo, the track star runner, who was an Olympic star runner, very beautiful black woman who wore her right hand short and her left hand long, right? And that's just my way of paying homage to her. So I say all that to say, if you haven't picked that up, finding your niche also implies finding yourself and connecting the thing that they like, and then you looking at it and liking it yourself, and then saying, okay, how can I add to, not necessarily take away, but how can I add to what the men already like? So let's just say you're a girl who is, let's say, I'm gonna go, because men like really tiny feet, right? They might like women with small feet. So let's just say you have a very narrow foot, is small, is dainty. Well, how you win in this business, you can really promote the fact that you have little feet, and you could squeeze your foot into any shoe. It's very dainty. You might even, may want to put on a ballerina shoe. I mean, there's so many ways you could play around with this, is what I'm saying. There's so many ways regarding polish. You can always ask your guys, hey, what type of polish do you want to see me have on my toes? What I noticed in the industry and throughout these years, a lot of men like just the bare foot. Like literally no polish, no nothing, just plain, just regular foot with a nice little arch, a dainty foot. You get what I'm saying? But let's just say your feet are exotic or different, or you got hair knuckles. That's what I call it, right? When men have little hair on the top of their toes, let's just say you're a hairy girl and you have that. There is somebody out there that will like those hairy toes of yours. I'm just saying, let's just say you got them toes that one toe is way longer than the other toes, or there's zigzag toes, where there's the middle one that looks like a finger. You get what I'm saying? Where your feet are so unique, and yet there is someone that will like you. So what am I really saying, ladies, as it relates to the saturation of a business that's under the umbrella of the foot fetish, right? And I'm using the foot fetish because it's the most popular one, and most times it keeps your clothes on. Just saying, right? So even within that, what happens, I believe happens. Let's go here. I believe what happens with folks is that they get into a business, especially to my younger models. You get into this business, you want that fast money, you want to hurry up and get it done. But when things like fetishes, especially foot fetishes, because it is so saturated, you have to be it's almost a must have that you got to add something extra to those feet of yours. Because what did I say earlier? Because a guy can go over if it's just about him getting off on just a pair of feet, so to speak, then he's going to go to any girl, any woman will do. You get me? But if you really want to hone on to and create a client base and create a fan base that's going to keep coming back to you because of your very unique polish, or what type of shoes you wear, or the fact that you can, I don't know, do strange things with your feet. And I mean, like, you may be able to, I don't know. You may be able to pick up things with your feet, and I know that I can. A lot of us girls know how to do that. So if you want to add that to your content and on your videos, that's a good idea. That's a good idea to just try your best to, even though it's saturated, is to create your own persona, your own way of doing things, even under such a thing that's so popular, right? As for me, I really don't have an issue with that, because majority of women, I think I'm the only, I keep saying it, y'all can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I think I'm the only mixed chick and or black chick, because I can go both ways, because I am exotica worship, where it could be, I could be on this side of things, or I could be on that side of things. But my point is, When it comes to my nails, I think I'm the only ethnic, let me say it that way, woman in the webcam modeling industry with long natural nails such as mine. And I know many black and or mixed women, Hispanic women, and when I say no, I mean across the US that rock very long fingernails, extremely longer than mine, but they're not webcam models, right? So the blessing is for me is that I'm in a market to where I stand alone in a sense, you know what I mean? Which in some ways it can make it harder for me because then because I've had men come to my broadcast and say, oh my gosh, I've had men come to my live and go, oh my God, I've never seen nails that long. And not every single man likes the nails when they see them. But because I promote that in my shows. It's in my bio. I mean, I'm known to be the long nail goddess. I'm the long nail goddess now on some sites. I'm the long nail goddess. I'm exotica worship on some sites. So I made sure that that it was in the name, basically, right? So that men knew that. So throughout the years, I have had men that never thought that they would have been into nails, right? Or into long nails. And then all of a sudden they see me and they're like, oh my gosh. I never thought this would be something that I'm into, but I can dig it. I like it. It adds it's sexy. It's, because at the end of the day, what men or people are really looking at or feeling is the essence of who you are, even if you're just showing your feet. For those that don't want to show their face or any other body part. But even in that, there is an energy. What do they say? Everything is energy. So I will close this out by simply saying, so if you ever feel young ladies and or gentlemen or old folks or whoever's coming aboard, trust me when I tell you, as my great grandmother used to say, there is somebody for everybody. So don't get so worried, because there's some times where I think that too. There's been moments where I said, how do I sustain, in my case, how do I stay relevant? How do I stay relevant? One thing I've learned about staying relevant when it's so saturated is to continue to just stay me. Because what I realize is that trends do fade. Trends fade after a while. Trends definitely fade after a while. You could rush to something. Think about it. When OnlyFans first started, everybody rushed over to OnlyFans. It was around the pandemic. Everybody got on board, but not everybody stuck around because, number one, any type of anytime you're being an entertainer, and even though we make it look fun and things of that kind of nature, it's still work. OnlyFans models, you got to put that content out there. OnlyFans models, you got to have at least some sort of a following, right, to bring you over. And guess what? Those subscriptions can fade. Which is, I'm going to come back around and talk about, what is on my topic list? Let's see here, because I just thought about doing it. My dinner was good, and so everything is flowing, and I'm like, let me sit down here again at my kitchen table on the opposite side and write down some other topics I want to talk about. So again, this one is entitled, the saturation of it all, and being able to win. And then the next topic I wanted to talk about, the big tippers versus little tippers, loyalty and longevity, right? We're going to get into talking about that because it matters. Because you can have a huge big tipper, and I think I'll close with this. You could have someone come in and tip you, whatever, the biggest tip, that whatever you call big, right? And then guess what? You may only see them one more time and that's it. And then you got those little tippers who stick around longer, but over time, right, they do more in a sense. So, and it depends on what you're after. Again, when you think about webcam modeling, they're both slow money depending on how you work it. And I think this is why some people fell at OnlyFans, some people fell at webcam modeling, which is another topic, excuse me. So I'm gonna come back here and let me write that down. Why you fell, exclamation marks, because none of us fail, right? Really. But why you fell at OnlyFans or webcam modeling. And I think that's the reason. And I did go on to webcam OnlyFans for just a brief. I do think I have enough information to wait a minute. Okay. I think I do have enough information to share. So, why you may have failed on OnlyFans, and I'll give you my reasoning on why that may happen, and or webcam modeling. But again, as it relates to saturation, you just got to be able to take out the time and investigate. I know investigate is a big word, but investigate and ask the guys the question, right? What is it about my feet that you like? Because we're using feet again as an example. What is it about my feet that you like, babe? Do you like the curve in them? Do you like the arch? Do you like that they're flat? Do you like that I can wiggle them really fast? Do you like that, they're dainty, they're small? Do you like that they're big? Do you like that they're hairy? Do you like that my ankles are chunky? Because there are some men, as it relates to the foot fetish, that like the whole foot. Then they like the shape of the foot, or they like the polished toe, or they don't like polish at all, or then they like the arch in the foot, or they don't care if you're flat footed, they don't care if you're in heels. There's flip flop guys, there's guys that want you in stripper shoes, there's guys that want you in Asian heels. When in fact, there's a guy that come to my broadcast who kept asking and tipping and tipping and tipping for me is to get I call them Asian platforms or Asian heels, but it's the real chunky shoe. Finally got that, right? And so I say all that to say, so there is so many levels to what type of foot model and or foot fetish girl you're going to be, and then finding the guys that are going to, because keep in mind, if you just want to be any old kind of foot, so to speak, then you'll get any old kind of guy that'll come through, get his rocks off, and then you may not see him anymore. And then that you can burn yourself out from that, right? But once you find out what your specific thing, let's just say you're a person who want to put your feet in Jello and put your feet in whipped cream and put your feet in the mud and walk outside and barefooted, or do some grounding out in the wilderness, in the forest. Men who like to see you walk on grass, or like to see you put your feet up on top of the coffee table, or like to see you, do a foot job. All of these things, right? There's so many levels. I can't repeat enough. There are so many levels to a business, again, that is overly saturated. Anytime you're talking about sex, it is overly saturated. It's always going to be somebody into this, somebody into that. It's going to be taboo. You talking about role play. You talking about all kinds of things that are in the bucket of fantasy, and so many levels. Again, I've been in this business forever. And again, keep in mind, as I did come in the business being a phone sex operator, that's what really gave me a bird's eye view of two things. One, slow money, which I'll come back and talk about it. Slow money, okay? And that's why I have longevity in the business, because I'm not in the mode of trying to rush to get the bag. And I think this goes into the bucket of the next topic we'll talk about, is why you're failing at OnlyFans and webcam modeling. And one of the reasons why you may be failing is simply because, hi Ernestine, simply because you had high expectations. And I'm gonna write down maybe 5 after I get out of this live, and then I'll come back on that video, because what I'm trying to do is to do at least try to do 3 videos a day. And me coming on live like this in this format seems to just be working for me again. And I can save myself for dolling up and getting ready, because my show probably won't start until 10 p.m. tonight. So I got one more video to put out for you guys as it relates to, again, why you seem to be failing and or at webcam modeling or OnlyFans, and I'll give my tips there. But this one was specifically wanting you to understand how to, just be more creative, figure out ideas of how to keep those guys in a saturated market, in a saturated space. And that saturated space is definitely going to be you being a foot person, because that's the most popular thing. I'm sure there's other fetishes out there, Lord knows I know. But again, that's the main ones. And when I think about this, guys, I'm thinking about the 25-year-old woman. Keep in mind, my daughter's 27. She just turned 27 this past weekend. And even she has had her guys hit her up in her DM on her Instagram, seeing her feet. And it's funny because she took she was at the beach for her birthday, and she took her pictures, right? And I noticed that she has her feet covered in the sand. And I was teasing her because I'm thinking, I know why she probably covered up her feet. As pretty as her toes are, because she just got them done and everything. And it's a nice little French tip and everything, right? For her birthday. And I'm like, she has her toes buried in the sand. And we both were giggling. We thought it was so funny because she knows when she posts her videos on her IG, the guys are gonna hit her up in her DM, and she often tells me, "Mom, I think I got me a pay piggy. Mom, I think I got me a foot guy. Mom, I'm telling you guys, these men are everywhere. You're out here, ladies. Even if you're in the business or not, I'm telling you, you're out here on the subway, on the bus. You're in your car. You get out your car at the gas station or go in the grocery store. Foot fetish men are everywhere. They're looking at your feet. They're gawking. They're not saying nothing, but they looking, right? And so it is a very, 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 I can't put enough emphasis, but it's a very popular fetish. And so again, how do you win when something is so popular, something is so freaking saturated? It'll make you want to give up, right, ladies? It'll make you be like, damn, because man, if he sees this foot, he sees that foot. He's gonna get off on anybody's feet. Yes, but still, this is why it's important that you also ask. How the question would be, how invested are you? That's really what I'd want to ask. Well, how invested are you? Did you want just the quick money? Did you want to just come through and get a quick 100, a quick 50, quick 200, a quick pay piggy and get out of there? You just wanted to do it for the thrill of it? Or are you really looking at this like your job? Are you really looking at this like, is it a side hustle? Is it a gig? It's all about how you see it. And if you come in and you see that is so many people. Let's imagine if you're walking into a store and you're like, I came in here to get some, let's just say, I don't know if everybody's familiar, let's say apples, because everybody know what an apple is. And you go in there and you see everybody standing in the damn line with apples about to make an apple pie. And you're like, damn, in other words, there is no original thought. It's just the people who decide to do it. Remember that. So you're standing in the store, you look at the apples and you're like, shit, I might as well go ahead and try to make a pear pie. But who the heck has heard of a pear pie? I'm sure they exist, right? So in that moment, because I'm going to tell you how I am, in that moment, I'm going to go ahead and make the pear pie, or apple and pear mixed together just to see what it tastes like, right? Because I don't mind being different is what I'm saying. I don't mind trying it out. But let's just say, as it relates to apple pie, everybody's familiar with apple pie, right? So you're standing in line and you're like, dang, but I don't know if somebody would really want a pear pie. But the truth is, if you think about the core of the pie, what is it? It's a pie, right? So your feet are your feet. I hope this is making sense, y'all. So your feet are your feet. The other people, their feet are their feet too. Everybody likes feet, right? All these guys are liking feet. What's going to make your feet stand out? What's going to make your feet different than any other woman's feet in the business? That's how you got to see it. So it's the same principle as the pie. What's going to make your apple pie different than anybody else's? Even if you decide not to get the pears, what are you going to add to your apple pie that probably nobody else would add? Cinnamon, salt. Most people do that to make it sweeter. Lemon. What are you going to put on top? Whipped cream. What are you going to put? Jelly. Jelly's different. I don't think I've ever seen jelly on top of an apple pie. You get what I'm saying? So it really, if you want to not see it as saturation, actually look at saturation as inspiration is what was coming to my mind. Look at saturation as inspiration, because it's, in other words, look at it and say, okay, fine, I already have the blueprint out there for me, right? You already have the blueprint. You're like, okay, cool. And that's anything in life. So you're like, cool, okay, everybody likes apples apparently. How can I make this apple pie different than anybody else's? That's why you got people who make cobblers, pies, or whatever, and then, or whatever food they make, and then you got the quote unquote secret ingredient or secret recipe or grandma's recipe, because grandma said, hey, yeah, I'm gonna make what everybody else make, but ain't nobody gonna make it like I do, because I'm gonna add a little bit of something, or watch this, or I'm gonna take something out. Because sometimes it's not about adding to it, it's about taking something away. Right. So when I think about the foot fetish industry, keep in mind, like I said earlier, a lot of men just like bare feet. Just like when I say bare, I mean no polish. You didn't put nothing on your toes. You didn't do. So, but if you constantly see so many women or girls with white tips, how many women in the industry has had that white polish on their toes? I mean, I've seen my daughter had it. I've had it. Women out here in California, out here in LA, we're always rocking that safe colored white or that French tip because it's safe for us. A lot of men like the French tip. It's classy. It's sexy, right? But there are also some men that say, you know what, how about you just don't put no polish at all? I think that's so sexy. I like a natural foot, and there's been times where, I'm telling you, there's been times where I've had men I've had men that did not, it's called I call it naked nails, who doesn't want me to have any polish on my nails at all. And the truth is, because my left hand is my real nails, I have stains on them. I'm like, I think they're not as pretty, they're not, they may not even clean to some people, but they're clean. It's just that sometimes the polish will stain the nail, right? But I've had many men pay me a lot. I'm putting emphasis on a lot, y'all, because everybody's a lot is different. But I've had men pay me surprisingly well when I took the polish off my nails and just wore my nails. Well, again, I call it naked nails, and where there's nothing on them, and they really like it because, again, some men get off on and like the woman in her naturalness, completely natural. And again, I'm putting emphasis on feet because there's many parts of the industry, obviously, but I'm just putting it on a space where it's oversaturated. Oh my gosh, you look on any type of adult, you don't even got to be adult. You look on social media and you see somebody put up a foot picture. I promise you, anybody that's listening, go put your feet up there on Instagram, and be sipping on your favorite drink, and act like you just want to show off. There are men that will take that picture, screenshot it, and then zoom in just on your feet that are resting there, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it. And men sitting up, I'm being honest, sitting up, jacking off over to your feet for completely zero, completely free. You don't know it because you want to show off your drink and you want to show off that you have a good time in the Bahamas. And they're like, damn all that. I just want to see feet. And so, or your feet. And then they zoom in there and then ta-da, right? And then they got this free picture. And so I'm not, and again, I don't say that to suggest that regular, if you will, regular, when I say regular, but women outside of the industry, I'm not suggesting you come aboard and be a part of the business because, I used to pitch women a lot. I used to say, damn, do you know that these men are sitting on your Instagram? Do you know that the men in these dating apps, when they're asking for pictures, some of them, not all of them, they are, jacking off to your picture? Don't let you have a picture where, oh, let me see a full body shot. And you thinking he's probably wanting to see the shape of your body, but he didn't zoomed all the way down to your feet. Feet because you got on sandals to check out to see what type of feet you got. And never let you know. Never let you know. Because I had my daughter said one time, she said one guy, he zoomed into her picture on her Instagram and then DM'd her and said, oh my God, you have the most beautiful feet. And she's like, how did you see my feet? Like she wasn't even thinking that because you know how us girls, we wear them summer dresses and when they hit very low, but he was able to take a screenshot and or zoom in close enough, crop that picture, and guess what? I'm sure my daughter is not the only woman that he's done that to or doing that to. This man is getting off for free. So back to my webcam models and my OnlyFans. Yes, it's saturated. If it is saturated in regular platforms such as IG, TikTok, YouTube, wherever it is, if it's saturated there, you better believe it's saturated where in a platform where it's allowed, right? Where men are allowed to freely express and say, I like feet. So how do you win again? And I'll close this out, you guys. You win by either adding to your own feet, asking questions to the men. You got to ask, hey, what is it about my feet that you like? And then do custom videos that's specifically for him. Charge him a certain amount of moolah, a certain amount of money as it relates to custom videos. Because, I mean, there's been times when I've done videos regarding my nails and feet, and many men don't like the bling out. We like that. We like the bling nails and the glitter. I love me some glitter. I got glitter on my nails right now, and I did my right hand yesterday, and I'm like, wow, this is nice. Love glitter. I'm very much a girly girl, super feminine, super girly. But most men that like my nails and my feet, they don't want to see all the glitter and the glitz and the glam and the diamonds and the Swarovski crystals. They really, it's almost like it gets in the way of them, having it. I can't say what I want to say, but it's like it almost gets in the way of their stuff. You get me? So it's important. It's important. It's important, ladies. And I'm going to close with this, I promise. No matter what it is that you do in life, so what that everybody, everybody has a bag of apples. So what that everybody made an apple pie? There is no original thought. You just take them apples and you sit to yourself and you say, what can I add? And I guess it would be a place where, again, people don't want to do the work. People don't want to experiment. Some women just like, I just want to put my foot out there and just let them like my feet and then build the clients. No, these are sales based gigs that we have. It takes, if you're not going to promote, watch this, if you're not going to promote on different platforms, because I don't, if you're not going to promote and go all around, try your best when you get that client to investigate and promote to that one person so tough to where you got at least a long lasting client. You have someone that'll stick around with some longevity, and you're not just a foot. But if you just want to be just a foot, then I'm not really, this is not geared towards you. But if you want to actually be more than just a foot, make a little bit more than a regular foot woman would make, and have a little bit of longevity in the business. In other words, even if you don't stick around it 24 hours a day, you'll have something to go back to. Those guys will remember you as, okay, she's not just the foot girl. She's the girl who talks to me. She asks questions. I know her and not know her, but you get what I'm saying. And they know you build a rapport is what I'm saying. But if you're not interested in building rapport and you just need a quick $50, yeah, you can put a video or a foot picture out there, because any old body will do, right? If it's just any old body's money, then that's where. But again, don't complain or get burnt out when you're like, oh my God, I can't believe these guys. It's not working out for me. Well, because in anything in life, you got to work that thing to some degree. You got to be invested in some type of space. And it doesn't just come overnight. Even Shira Seven would agree in this regard. Shout outs to Shira Seven, Sprinkle Sprinkle. She would agree that even as she tells women regarding dating and going out and getting the bag and stuff like that, you have to work it. And I don't mean work it in the true sense of 304 in it, but you have to be able to sit there with maybe somebody. What does she say? If she even said if the guy is ugly, she said, close your eyes. That says a lot, right? That says a lot about what she's really saying to you, ladies and or gentlemen. Close your eyes. So if you're in that mode of just closing your eyes or just want to throw a foot out there and you're just specifically wanting the bag, then that's going to be your approach. Hey, I'm just going to put my foot there and see what happens, right? Put my foot on the camera, take a couple of pictures, okay. But if you want a little bit more, you might have to sit there and indulge him. And even if he is ugly, I suppose you can tell him, "Oh, you're so handsome today. I like that tie." Maybe you can't say that, "Oh, I like the smile on your face." Maybe you just have to compliment his shoes or compliment his what's it called, cufflinks or something, right? So, anywho, I'm out of here, you guys. One love kisses. I will be back. I'm gonna take a small break. And again, me doing these videos motivate me to log in, because when I listen to my own self-talk, even if someone else isn't listening, I go to myself sometimes, that's right, Jay. Now you make sure you take your own advice, because sometimes, y'all, I can do it. They say those that can't do, teach. So sometimes I'm not as good at taking my own advice. I know that about me, right? But at least it helps me a little bit to know that I do have something to offer, because again, I've been in this business for 15 years. And guess what? It's still ongoing. There's every time I look up, it's a new model. Every time I look up, there's somebody else joining webcam modeling. I don't even know what's really going on as of late with OnlyFans, but webcam modeling, every time I look up, there's a new different technology being had on a particular site. There's a different interface. There's so many changes as it relates to, I guess, anything you're doing online, right? Regarding technology. In fact, this is the very reason why I'm sitting here at my kitchen table talking to you guys on YouTube, because TikTok suspended me. They suspended me because my live got so graphic, because I was talking about penis size. And I was just going there, TikTok don't play that. And after a while, and I kept just getting more detailed and more detailed and more silly and more goofy. And it was fun. And I knew it was coming. I was ready. I was so ready, to be honest. It's almost like I self-sabotaged. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I'm so ready to get off of TikTok, because it was the same old, same old. Speaking of saturation, that's exactly what I was feeling. I was like, it is so saturated. And it began to feel like, I was like, I'm just sitting here swiping, doom swiping, entertaining things that don't have nothing to do with me. Like, this is not me. And I could tell I was changing, y'all. That's a whole nother topic. But anyway, I'm here back on YouTube, and just be patient with me, guys. I don't know if I'll upload every day. I'm 48 years old. Sometimes my body feels it, sometimes I don't. As I did my first video as it relates to going through premenopausal and being in the industry, I'll try to do those videos on Sunday. My Thursdays and Sundays for my 40-plus-year-old woman, and the rest of the videos, of course, is just catering to the general webcam community and or OnlyFans, because I think OnlyFans girls can take from this as well. I think we're kind of all in this together. Hell, I think any part of the industry, hell, I think any woman, any woman, any woman can kind of vibe out and get some type of understanding. Because again, whether you're in the industry or not, we as women, we don't have to, but we are dealing with men and have dealt with men on some sort of level. And one thing that this business has taught me is the pathology of men, how they think, the psychology of them, firsthand, a bird's eye view of most men. And unfortunately, it hasn't always been positive. So I've taken what could be a negative, what could be looked at as being a negative, what could even be looked at as being perverted, and turned it into something that makes me feel good about me first, and just look at myself again as an entertainer, and just know not to take that stuff and put it in my personal life. But also, it has allowed me to learn men more, to be able to see men, understand their intentions, understand if I don't understand anything else about men and what I've learned in this business, what they taught me about men. And I got to say it before I get out of here, is that I know people lie, I know women lie, but men, oh, how they lie. Oh, how they lie. Oh, good God, how they lie. They just lie. That's just like they lie. And I don't mean it even in the negative. I'm not trying to man bash, because again, I wouldn't be in the business. I have a love for men, in fact, but still, that's what, I swear to God. I mean, how else are they going to win and get us to be how they have been needing us to be since the beginning of time? They must lie. They must lie. And that was something that I had to get over and go ahead and accept that, yes, even my sons have to lie to women. They have to. They have to. They cannot tell the truth. Because if they told the straight out truth, most of us would be like, I'm good. Most of us would have the choice to go the other way, right? And I learned that primarily, again, being in the business, because when I ask men, why doesn't your girlfriend and or your wife or does your friends know that you're into this? Does your wife or girlfriend know? She thinks I'm into this. She doesn't know that about me. Or so even if they don't lie, they just, what is it called? Omit. They just don't tell. Men have secrets. Maybe that's what I should say instead. Men have secrets, and if you ask them about those secrets, then they'll lie for sure. But anywho, I'm out of here, you guys. You will hear me or see me in the next one. Bye for now. Kisses. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, Ernestine. Bye for now. I think it was Trina who came through too. Kisses.